Okay, it's Tuesday, which means it's Trope Tuesday, and today I want to talk about trope combos. Three trope combinations that grab readers, or at the very least, grab me, and I'm a reader, but I'm also a writer. So, what I'm going to talk about today is from the 25 tropes that I included in the trope survey, the romance trope survey on thetropeproject.com. I'm going to take 6 of them, mash them together so that I have 2 tropes mashed together to one new trope, and talk about the essential beats that I would pull from each of those tropes to have a complete story arc. All right, so this is like a combination between tropes and story circle or story beats. And I hope that this is interesting to you. So basically, every single week on Tuesday, hashtag Trope Tuesday, I'm going to talk about how I, as a romance writer, as a genre fiction writer, how I use tropes to improve my writing, to focus my publishing, and those two things aren't always the same. Writing and publishing, they're not always the same thing. So improve my writing on the one hand, but also really focus my publishing decisions. Make sure that I am publishing the most marketable books that I possibly can. And if my process in that helps you at all, that's all that I want. So like, I wrote a nonfiction book, it's called Romance Your Brand, and in that book I talk about picking the most marketable trope from your own like id list. The things from the list of tropes that you want to write, how do we make them the most marketable? So one way that we can do that is to mash tropes together. So here we go. 3 trope combos that I think are very hooky. So, friend of the family, forced proximity, stuck together with assumptions, right? So we take friend of the family, which is a more inclusive way of saying best friend's sibling, because this could also be multi-generational. It could be a parent's best friend, which can either be filthy if you're a erotic romance writer, or it could be platonic if you write YA or women's fiction. And some of the essential beats here in this friend of the family plus forced proximity stuck together with assumptions trope would be: I see you for more than your family role. I see you for more than they see you. Um, Someone becoming another person's confidant, secret keeping, then a reckoning with those assumptions. Hey, if that's not all true, what else can be unraveled? And together we could do a whole new thing, right? I love all of those beats. So if you take both of those tropes and you mash them together, suddenly like story ideas start sparking even better than if you just have one, right? So mash the tropes together. Here's another one: enemies to lovers, friends to lovers, mash them together, frenemies to lovers. Essential beats here: I hate you, I secretly like you as a friend, I definitely hate you, united in a common cause, sparks, admission of friendship, a setback, pursuit of more, unraveling of past beliefs, admission of love, threat to love, overcome that, truly happy. So you can see how those beats, there's just another layer of the on top of the friends to lovers or enemies to lovers. You mash them together and you have an extra layer of progression. So on the story circle, right, that's the trials and then gathering your tools. Both of those chunks of the story get so much more robust when you've got 2 tropes instead of 1. All right, third one, ready? Forbidden love plus amnesia. I didn't know I was supposed to. I got that wrong. Forbidden love plus amnesia. I didn't know I wasn't supposed to want you. Oh, the tingles. You know, to be honest, like sometimes one trope can feel really one note, right? Forbidden love can be pretty one note, but add in, and so can amnesia. Oh, I can't remember anything. But mash the two together and you get layers of stuff to deal there. So some of the and a side note here about amnesia, I need to say this: It's a fictional construct. Don't write amnesia plots if you want it, like if you need to get something medically accurate. That's not what this trope is about. Okay. The essential beats here. Who are you? Who am I? I like you so much. You can't like me, but I can't tell you that. Oh no, we're slipping closer and closer together. Secret keeping, brokenhearted at the secret discovery, and then the mess of like the forbidden love becomes like a really good way to deal with. I know I've gone off my little list here, but a really good way to deal with this is that amnesia is not the whole book. Amnesia is the first act, which then pivots into forbidden love afterwards. If somebody wants to write that, like, I want to read that. Okay. That's the mess of the off-limit reality. But you saw me for who I really am. So then there's a big reckoning with the past and taking a stand for love. Right? Oh my God, all those beats, like, tingles up my spine. All right. So you can see, like, I mash together tropes that when mashed together have some common themes. I see you for who you really are, and unraveling past beliefs and assumptions. Those are two really big themes in the core story that I like to tell over and over and over again in different ways. Your core story, your favorite themes might be different, and so like the two tropes that you mash together may be totally different than how I did it, but that's okay, because you do you and I'll do me. But I want to hear what your favorite trope mashups are. You can leave them in the comments, you can email me, you can message me. If you have any questions about this, please let me know. And then, of course, the only thing better than two tropes mashed together are three tropes. I can't do the three tropes. Can you, as a side note, can you do, I can do three on this hand, but I can't on that hand. I can't do it. I can't even like get my thumb over there. Do you have like different fingers that can do different things? So three, but I can't. But I can do the most important thing on both hands. So there you go. And thus we reveal the secret nerd in me. Okay, it was not that secret actually. I've written like a couple of like sci-fi stories that are pretty obviously fan fiction. Okay. So I like to look for trope mashups that encourage conflict, that reveals the truth of a character to themselves in an entertaining way. And if you are a writing craft junkie, then you might recognize some of that, like grappling with the true, like who the true essence is. That's Michael Haig does a lot of talking around that, with identity versus essence. So the identity is what you think that is your truth at the start of the story, but then as you go through your journey, you realize what your true essence is and how the identity is a lie. You're like a lie that you've been telling to yourself as well as others. And if you shake off that identity and embrace your true essence, then that's, the path to true happiness. And I love a trope that really digs into that and gives like a construct for forcing a character into that realization. You don't want it to be too easy. You want them to really have to struggle with it a little bit because of circumstance. So that's, I like tropes that really push that circumstance, like forced proximity or enemies to lovers or forbidden love. Love those, but I love them even more when they're mashed up. So anyway, back to my hand things. So the only thing better than two tropes is three tropes. And so if you take a mashup and then layer on, like for some of the more universal tropes, like grumpy one is soft for the sunshiny one, or opposites attract, which is essentially the same thing, but like not necessarily. It could be, the careful one is protective of the reckless one, right? That's another opposites attract. So grumpy one is soft for the sunshiny one, and opposites attract. I mean, I think that one of the reasons those two tropes are like the top of the trope list so far, knock on wood, is because they have so much conflict built into them. So readers are like, I love those stories because like they're page turners, right? So if you can layer in one of those two, like let's say for example you really love you love love triangles. but you want to make that love triangle the most more universally accessible. One way to do that would be to grab onto like opposites attract. And so another Michael Haig tip is he talks about Titanic. Titanic is a love triangle, right? But it's not like the people who hate love triangles, a lot of them still love Titanic. And then, I mean, there are people who hate Titanic too, and that's okay. Like, you don't, but Titanic, you cannot deny that it was kind of universally adored at the time, and continues to be adored to this day. So what happened to all the love triangle haters? Well, Michael Haig would say it's really clear that the love triangle only exists because Rose, at the beginning of the movie, is operating in her identity. She believes she should be engaged, but obviously, as the viewer, we know she should not. And by the time she comes into her essence, she has completely, like, she's not in love, right? Like, so, I mean, a true love triangle, maybe that doesn't work, but if you can layer in like opposites attract, to help reveal to both the reader really quickly and then the main character more progressively that they're in their identity and that their essence will reveal the proper choice, the singular choice in a love triangle, then that's a good way to like make that story more universal. Or of course, if you're like an erotic romance author, just make the love triangle menage, and then that solves all your problems. But that's not for everyone, but it is for me. Again, I'm a reader too, so like if you wanted to like woo me, that's the way to do that. Okay, so there you go. I hope that you liked my I've touched my hair. It's very staticky. I've touched my hair a lot in this video. There we go. So 3 trope combos to grab readers. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope that you are thinking about tropes and working on them, and also being gentle and kind to yourself in this troubled time that we find ourselves in. That's all for me today. Coming up this week, I'm going to have 2 videos back to back later this week on free, because I got a whole bunch of questions. Like, I got questions on how to maximize free as like a sales tactic, which I'm going to answer, but I feel like that's part 2 of a video, because I also got questions on really free, why, and so I want to answer that first, and then I'm going to do the maximizing. So I have a 2-part video planned later this week, and then I'll be back next week for more trope talk. So lovely to see you all in the comments, and I hope it was lovely to see me, and let's do this again soon.